Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. So I have another horror book review for you today for Halloween, and that is Clown in a Cornfield by Cesare. This one has definitely made the rounds on BookTube. Everyone I think has already read it. I'm really late to the game in getting to this one, but I wanted to pick it up for spooky season. It was a great read for October, and of course this was also a winner of the Bram Stoker Award this year. So I really wanted to give this one a go and see which end of the fence I came out on with my opinions. So if you haven't heard of this book before, it is a teenage slasher novel, and it revolves around a young girl named Quinn who moves into a very, very small farming community from Philadelphia. So she's been brought up in the big city, and she's plunked into this small farming community where her dad is going to be the new doctor in town. So Quinn very quickly has to make new friends, and she discovers what small town living is going to be like. So the town's mascot is a clown character named Friendo. So Quinn and her friends decide to go to a big party, and someone dressed as Friendo the clown starts taking everybody out. So very, very much a classic teenage slasher story. So first, talking about Casare's writing style. So I think this author is very much kind of a nostalgia nerd, and even though this doesn't take place back in the 80s and 90s when all of the classic slashers sort of were coming out, but he very much takes that idea and takes the time in your life of when you're growing up as a teenager, and he puts it into a modern day story. So I was a little bit disappointed that this wasn't happening sort of back in that period, but he very much took a lot of the elements from those classic slasher stories and teenage stories that I love so much and brought them into the modern times. And as for the writing style itself, this is very much a fast-paced book. There's no point when there's a lot of downtime. It flowed really nicely. The pacing was really well done, and I very much did get sucked into the story of Quinn and her friends in this small town, and it was very, very nostalgic of watching those sort of teenage slasher movies from the 90s. So I really, really did like Casare's writing. He does have either one or a couple of other books out, and I think because I did enjoy his writing style so much, I do want to read more from him. I think he gets the story across really, really well, and it's really going to appeal to anyone who is into those classic slashers that typically have to do with the teenage years. So this is very much geared towards a young adult age group, but I have to say some of these kills were pretty brutal, and there was a pretty high body count in this book. And once the killing started, it was relentless. It just went on, but at no point did I feel bored or did I feel like it was a little bit too much over the top. Because like I've said in other reviews, I don't like when the story kind of gets a little bit too far-fetched. I mean, we all know this is fiction, and those slasher stories can get a little bit too far-fetched, but I didn't experience that at all with this book. I think the kills were great, it was clean, and lots of gore and lots of bodies. So really, really enjoyed that aspect. I liked when the killer was revealed, sort of the MO behind why everything was going on. I think it was very satisfying once Friendo was taken out, and just the backstory of things that had happened previously in this town. I think all of that was written really, really well. I thoroughly enjoyed the slasher part of the story, and I would love to see this story come to life on screen. I think it would be fantastic, especially because I love those classic slashers so much. The only critique that I would have of this story, and it's something that I kind of struggled with, I wasn't really sure how to take it, and I wasn't really sure what I was going to do, like in relation to my review of this book and how I was going to rank it. So want to keep this review spoiler free, but there is something that happens at the end, towards the end of the book. And on the one hand, I think it's really great that it was included, but I think it could have been executed a lot better. So this event that happened, it's something that has to do with a topic that's very, very popular right now. and like I said, wanting to keep it spoiler free. So you take something topical and it's almost like it's ripped from the headlines and it's just plunked into the book. That's how I perceived it, and it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I would have liked to have seen this topic or element of the story sort of develop a little bit more throughout the story, but at the same time I also didn't really hate it either. So because that happened right at the end of the book, you know, when you're going through all of this slasher stuff and there's a backstory that happened in this town before Quinn had moved there, there's a high body count, there's amazing kills, you got this psycho clown, and then all of a sudden something was ripped from a headline and just kind of slapped into the book. And that's the way I took it. Other people, if you've read this book, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, and you might have taken it a different way. But unfortunately, because it rubbed me the wrong way, I did bring my star rating down to a 3.5 star. This, I think, was a really, really strong story, and I think that one element that left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth at the end could have been done a lot better throughout the whole story. So wishing that it had have gone a bit more in that route, but at the same time, I understand that it was more concentrating on the slasher part of the story, and that was kind of a secondary sort of plot line. But honestly, I did still enjoy this book. I think it was a great Halloween read. It's going to be awesome for anyone who is into those classic slasher movies from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and with the teenage plot lines, and you have all the things going on in here. It was a great story, and I would highly recommend still picking this one up, and I'm definitely going to read more books by Adam Cesare. So there you go, that is my review of Clown in a Cornfield. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please, if you did, give me a thumbs up, leave me a question or a comment down below, because you know I love chatting with you guys. But until next time, stay spooky everybody. Bye.